Hey, freedom lovers, it's William Moore. You are watching Beyond the Ties That Bind. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that everyone is having as good of a day as you can possibly have right now. It's hard. We're constantly being bombarded with misinformation. We're constantly under attack, those of us who love freedom. Got a lot on our minds nowadays, especially with the direction that the country has taken. I used to tell people this is coming, and I believe that I underestimated what it was going to be like. At the time, people were telling me that, oh my goodness, it never could be that bad. It never could get that bad. It's actually worse than the picture I was painting. So today, I want to talk about emotionalism. Emotionalism in the media. The mainstream media is using emotionalism to guide the public, to guide the viewing public. The viewers are being fed misinformation. The viewers are being led along to believe the government narrative. And they're using emotionalism to do so. Now, we're all emotional creatures. Don't get me wrong. However, rational thinking and decision making do not leave much room for emotion. I'm emotional. My wife says, honey, I think you should go out and buy a couple more guns. I get real emotional at that moment. Or if I'm flipping through the Academy Sports ad, their weekly ad, and I come across a special on 223 or 7.62 by 39 ammo, and the ad says there's no limit, I get really emotional. True story. So, the media is using emotion to guide the viewing public, to get the viewing public to accept the narrative. From the beginning of the coronavirus, we were told that if we didn't shelter in place, if we didn't social distance when we went out to the grocery store, because that was the only place we were allowed to go out to, if we didn't social distance, we were going to kill Grandma and Grandpa. And then on Judgment Day, their blood would be on our hands and we were going to go to hell because we were murderers. That's the kind of emotional BS that was taking place at first. They were using the elderly. Now elderly die, and I don't want to downplay that because every life is important. And when you have an elderly person in your family pass away, that's someone gone from you forever, possibly forever. And so I don't want to downplay a death at all. However, we were told by Deborah Burke, she stood up and she stated that it didn't matter if it was heart condition, leukemia, cancer. It didn't matter if it was diabetes, whatever it was. If the person had coronavirus at the time of death, even though coronavirus was not the underlying cause of death, that it was still going to be counted as a coronavirus death. So the numbers are greatly inflated. And you have a discrepancy between the John Hopkins fear porn map that Faux News shows every night and the CDC numbers on their own website, which I've covered. So the media puts an emotional spin on everything in order to guide the viewing public in the direction they want the viewing public to go. And recently, Faux News had a piece with Matthew McConaughey. He wants to spread unity among the coronavirus pandemic. It's not about politics, and it is about politics. It's all about politics. It's all about control. This guy should be a politician because he lies through his teeth in so many points of this interview. We need to take a stand for freedom. We cannot allow BS to successfully take away our freedom. We cannot allow a false flag to take away our freedom. We already sacrificed so much at the altar of 9/11, which was an inside and outside job. So now they want us to sacrifice what little bit of freedom we have left. And I exercise my freedom all the time. I don't allow government to dictate to me, but as a collective, they want everyone to sacrifice their freedom. Now, I'll give my life before I bow down and live on my knees. I will die before I bow down and live on my knees and have men, lesser men, try and tell me what to do and how to live my life, who I can socialize with, what store I can go to, what I can watch. Well, I don't really watch much, but anyway, there's an emotional spin on everything. We're emotional creatures, but emotion is the shallowest part of a man, and you cannot do a deep work in shallow waters or in a shallow part. You cannot plant a garden which will produce good fruit in shallow soil. You need deep soil so the plants can take root and produce good fruit. So we're being bombarded with emotionalism. You have to stay at home to save lives. You have to stay at home. It's for your own safety. It's for your own good. So let's go ahead and look at this clip. And now I'm going to have to break in because I don't want to get a violation and have a strike, because I want to keep this channel up and going. And please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. Please tell your friends about it. Tell your neighbors who are wearing masks about it. Tell everyone about it. Tell your family your family members who are wearing masks. Those who are wearing masks and those who are not wearing masks. Those who are giving in to the government propaganda and following along like little sheep, and those who are taking a stand and saying enough is enough. Share the channel with everyone. Get them to subscribe so we can get the message of freedom out there to as many people as possible, because no one has a higher claim to your life and your property than you. The only rule that we've been given from above is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's the only rule we've been given as far as living amongst each other here on earth. So, without further ado, we're going to watch this doo-doo. Land of the sea and the home of the slave.
Well, that was a new public service announcement by the Just Keep Living Foundation, designed to try to bring people together during this coronavirus pandemic. Matthew McConaughey is an Academy Award-winning actor, everybody knows, and the founder of the Just Keep Living Foundation.
My question here is, just keep living? Just keep living? How can you live when you're being held a prisoner? Just keep living. That's another emotional spin.
He joins us tonight. Thanks for being here.
Brett, good to be here.
What made you and your wife do this? What's driving you here?
Well, actually, it was a friend of mine, Roy Spence, here in Austin, and I've been trying to keep my pulse on what's the message, right now as we go through this pandemic. And we started off about staying at home, and then it turned into wear a mask. And, a few weeks ago, about a month ago, I could feel that this united purpose we all have as Americans to beat this enemy and this virus, that purpose got hijacked a bit by partisan politics. And all of a sudden the narrative became, if you want to go to work, you're on the far right. If you don't want to go to work and you want to stay home, you're on the far left. And now even the mask wearing is getting politicized, where if you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask, you're a liberal, and if you don't, you're a conservative. And that's just not true.
Okay, first of all, government hijacked this Bologna virus. and blew this virus out of proportion, okay? You can die from a common cold. We have, as I stated, the John Hopkins fear porn map and the CDC numbers, a big discrepancy between the two. And then flu has dropped off the chart completely. But you can die of the common cold if it causes your immune system to be compromised. So this virus is not as deadly as what we're being told. And, you know, as far as left versus right, there's people on the left that I know who refuse to wear a mask. They see it as a violation of the privacy. They also know that the mask, there's no science behind wearing the mask. No science at all. You're breathing in your own CO2. Then you have gaps up here. You have gaps to the side to where you're breathing in everything anyway. And once again, you're breathing in your own exhaust, so you're not breathing in, you're not getting the oxygen that you need, which strengthens the immune system. So everything we're being fed is a lie, and there's a lot of emotional spin to get us to believe the lie. Now, I don't believe the lie. People watching this do not believe the lie. There might be one or two who believe the lie. But, you know, as far as left versus right now, I don't really think that comes into play. Now, I do know people on the left do like to stay home and receive government benefits. So a little bit of truth there. But as far as left versus right, I know people who consider themselves conservative, but because Fox News tells them, and they receive the guidance from Anthony Fauci, who's in the Trump administration, they're wearing a mask. They're sheltering in place. They're buying the government BS.
So this created a false divide, sort of two wars in America, an us versus them war and an us versus the virus war. And, you know, if we try to fight both those wars, we're going to lose both of them. But if we try to fight the one against the virus, which is the one we should be fighting, then we're going to beat it.
He's right. We should be fighting the war against the virus, and the most deadly virus there is, government. Government is the most deadly virus there is. Even if this virus was going across the country, sweeping across the country, killing 1 out of every 4 Americans, it still would not be as deadly as government. Because if you lump in all of the deaths from war and just the deaths from genocide over the last 100 years, you're going to get about 250 to 300 million people have died at the hands of government. That's why government needs to be abolished, because we need freedom. Freedom is prosperous, and freedom and government cannot coexist, because government means to govern, to control. The mind are just to control. And when you're being controlled, you're not free, and you are not a valuable individual. The only value you have is to the one who's controlling you. You're just another, as Pink Floyd eloquently put it, brick in the wall, if you're being controlled.
So Roy and I got together and said, ourselves and our families, we need, and the nation need an authentic and inspiring message to remind us, let's stay united in our purpose now and beat this virus.
You know, it is interesting that that divide has developed in a partisan way. Obviously, it's an election year, and party politics factors into a lot of things. But Republicans, I think it's fair to say, don't want to see people die. And Democrats, I think it's fair to say, don't want to see the economy falling apart. How do you get that message through in this PSA and what you're doing?
Actually, right now, Democrats do want the economy to fall apart so they can get their guy in office next time around. Their guy or their gal.
Yeah, well, part of it is saying just that, to remind us that this is not about politics. It's about us, the USA. And we got to take care of each other right now. We have to collect.
We have to take care of each other right now. Nope.
Purpose. I mean, how many times do we have we unanimously convicted USA, and we got to take care of each other right now. We have a collective purpose. I mean, how many times do we have are we unanimously convicted of an enemy that we all want to be? And look at how great Americans are when purpose comes to us in a crisis. Look at who we are in World War II. And we have a crisis that came to us. We were united in that purpose, and all of a sudden, the human factor started to get split. And two tribes started to fight each other in partisan politics, and that is not what we need. We need a collection right now. This is a tug of war with the virus. We need all hands on the rope if we're going to beat it. I just want to remind everyone that.
Yeah, and
what this is a tug of war with government. And we need all hands on the rope. We need everyone who loves freedom to have their hands on the rope so we can take government down. So we can bring an end to their nefarious plans. Because they're crashing the economy. They want you in a place of fear. They're using emotionalism to get you into that place of fear, to cause you to make bad decisions, to cause you to follow them for your own safety. You want to be safe. And this is what we've had. This is the BS we've been fed since 1787. That it's for safety, that you're going to give up your rights, that you're going to give up your freedoms for safety, for the community. They're promising safety. And we need everyone who loves freedom to have their hands on the rope, because this is a tug of war with government. This is a tug of war for the heart of freedom. And we need all hands on that rope to yank the government off of its perch. There's more of us than there are of them.
You and your wife have also donated a bunch, meals and laptops for kids in need, and 200,000 face masks to frontline workers. Do you think that that's where this solution comes, from charitable acts from around the country? Do you think the federal government is doing all it can?
Well, I don't know if the federal government's doing all they can. I know they're doing a lot. Look, I think the word is not solution. I don't see a solution right now. We are waiting for science to catch up with us.
Waiting for science to catch up. What he means there is we're waiting for a vaccination. We're waiting for a vaccine so that everyone can be vaccinated, so that there is a mandate for everyone to be vaccinated.
Us in this predicament. So what can each of us do independently, individually, in our families, in our households, in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our cities? So act locally. Even this message, this is to the United States of America saying, hey, we're in this together.
No, we are not in this together. This is the elites versus us. And we also now are fighting against our family and neighbors who are following lockstep along with the government. So it's not us versus them. It's freedom versus tyranny. Or it's not all of us being together. It's freedom versus tyranny. That's what's going on right now. We're not all in this together. Don't tell me that the Hollywood elites are in this together with me, that they're doing without. Don't tell me that the politicians, that I'm in this together with them, they're not doing without. They're trying to control us. Don't tell me that I'm in this together with my neighbor who's dumb enough to wear a mask, who doesn't look into things, who doesn't research things, who doesn't use their ability to think critically to come to a logical decision, who's part of the cult of personality, who suffers from cognitive dissonance. Don't tell me that I'm in this together with that kind of BS.
Now, someone can say, yeah, but it's a worldwide pandemic. Yes, it is. Get the message out in your backyard right now. I don't think these are solutions. I think they're Band-Aids to hold off until science catches up.
Until science gives us a vaccine. And then everybody can be vaccinated.
Until there's not 2 patients for every 1 bed like there was in New York.
That's a lie. There was never 2 patients for 1 bed in New York. If there was, why were all these TikTok videos with doctors and nurses out in the parking lot dancing coming from New York.
Until we see that an asymptomatic person doesn't give it to someone who didn't have it. So we can protect the elderly especially, and
asymptomatic people are carriers. They're carriers of seasonal influenza.
And the younger ones. This is uncharted waters. There's not a playbook. I understand that. And
there is a playbook.
These are Band-Aids and things we need to do to hold this off until we have enough science to understand that, hey, you know what, we think it's safe now to go re-engage. If you are going to re-engage right now, please wear a mask. I haven't heard any science that says that is not a good idea.
That right there is another lie. This guy is just lying through his teeth. Now, I already pointed out, you're breathing in your own exhaust, your own CO2. The government goes back and forth. First, wearing a mask is good. Then wearing a mask is not good. Wearing a mask is good. Wearing a mask is not good. Everything you see on mainstream media and everything you hear on mainstream media is nothing more than BS. Brian over at High Impact Vlogs has a really good series on CNN, about 2 or 3 episodes concerning the lies that come forth from CNN. And, you know, I'm not going to let Faux News off the hook, and I don't think that CNN needs to be the only one that we look at or suspect of when it comes to lying. They all lie. And I know that everybody knows that, and Brian knows that, but it's so fun to mess with CNN.
And I hope we wear a mask as a badge of honor and not something that we feel like somebody told us we had to wear.
Everyone is wearing it because the news media is telling you to wear it. Everyone's wearing it because the government, through the media, is telling you to wear it. And they put emotional spins on the story to get people to wear these masks. It's not a badge of honor. A badge of honor? It's not honorable to be a sheep. It's honorable to be a lemming. And I apologize to sheep and lemming, but right now those are the only 2 adjectives I have to describe the mentality of most Americans who are following along lockstep with the BS coming from the government and the mainstream media. So, I mean, it's not a badge of honor to wear a mask, to lose your identity, to no longer be an individual, to say that I'm a follower, that I'm a bootlicker, that I'm an order taker. It's not a badge of honor. That says I'm a coward. That says I can't think for myself. That says I lack the ability to think critically. It says I suffer from cognitive dissonance. It says that even though people show me there's a discrepancy between the Johns Hopkins fear porn map and the CDC numbers, and even though people point out what Deborah Burke said about a person who dies of heart disease as the underlying cause of death, yet they have the coronavirus, it's counted as a coronavirus death. That's telling me, people like that follow along and buy that BS, they're cowards. They can't think for themselves. They can't think logically. They can't make a decision on their own. They rely upon the government through the media to make a decision for them. That's not a badge of honor. That's being a coward. That's not being an individual. That's just being part of the crowd, part of the flock, following along.
It takes away our identity. I think wearing a mask is not a good idea. And I hope we wear a mask as a badge of honor and not something that we feel like somebody told us we had to wear, and it takes away our identity. I think wearing a mask is not propaganda. I don't think it's partisanship or politics. I think a mask is all about our purpose right now. Again, us as in the USA.
A mask is all about our purpose. No, our purpose should be freedom. Our purpose should be living our lives. Our purpose should be, if we're going to really care for each other, then we're going to promote the message of freedom. And we're going to go to these people who cannot think for themselves, and we're going to educate them on the philosophy and principles of freedom.
To best beat this virus. It's how we can take care of ourselves and others in the crisis.
Clearly,
everybody look in
your
your
backyard.
The coronavirus
it doesn't discriminate. The virus doesn't.
It doesn't care who we voted for. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Brett Baer has some really gay looks right now. I mean, I'm sensing a gay vibe between these two. I don't know if Brett Baer is married. Snurdly. Wait a second. I don't have a Snurdly like Rush does on my own staff here. So anyway, but I don't know if Brett Baer is married, but my goodness, he's not a real attractive guy. Let's see. Is Brett Baer married? Yes, he is married. That is Brett Baer's wife. Oh my goodness. Where have I seen her before? I've seen her before. Yep, that's it. That's where I've seen her before. Okay, there's another picture of Brett Baer and his wife. Oh my goodness, she's got a weird look going on here. The eyes and all. Looks like a robot, but I've seen her somewhere before. Yep, that's it. Brett Baer is married to a puppet. Okay, back to this video.
Okay. I want to end with this. You're a sports fan. You're obviously a University of Texas fan. You're also a Washington Redskins fan.
Yes.
Do you think sports is coming back?
Well, I know it's coming back. It's a matter of when and how. You know, we know it's coming back. And, you know, are we going to play games without fans in the seats? Are we going to play games with fewer fans in the seats?
Either way, we're going to play games with fewer fans in the seats because we're going into an economic collapse right now. We have not seen anything yet. We're going to have hyperinflation. The last Great Depression was a deflationary depression. This is going to be a hyperinflationary depression. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing food prices start to go up. By the time that sports can come back, make a comeback, you're going to have people paying $100 a pound for ground beef. That's how bad it's going to get. So you're never going to see people come back. And if they did, are they going to social distance, make you sit 6 feet away from the person that you went to the game with? Say you went with your significant other, your husband or wife, you're going to have to sit 6 feet away. That means now instead of sharing a popcorn, you're going to have to buy two. So anyway, seriously, I don't see sports coming back as ever before because people aren't going to be able to afford to go to these sporting events anymore. They're not even going to be able to afford to watch sporting events on television because they're not going to be able to afford their cable bill because they're going to be spending their money on food. What little bit of food their money buys, because paychecks aren't going to go up, but all the prices of goods and services will.
Separated by 6 or so feet. Are we going to come back and fill stadiums? I don't know when that's going to happen, but it will happen again. That's another thing we all need to remember. And let's just do our due diligence.
Once again, I get a gay vibe between these two. But anyway, I'm done with watching this. This is just fear porn. This is just emotionalism. And trying to get people to wear masks, trying to get people to comply. Of course, Fox News caters to the right wing, the conservatives, and they're just trying to get people to comply with wearing masks, making it look like a badge of honor, when all it says is I'm a coward, I'm a bootlicker, I'm nothing more than an order follower. And you know, that's all this is. And they use this kind of fear porn to get people to follow lockstep. They use emotionalism. They don't want you to make a logical decision. They don't want you to think rationally. They don't want you to think critically. They want you to think spur of the moment, and they want you to believe that what you're doing is for your own safety and the safety of your loved ones. BS! If you follow along, what you're doing is for their benefit, so they can control you. Everyone, please like, share, and subscribe. Get this message out, the message of freedom out to everyone. We need to defeat these central banks. I don't care if, you know, we go into a world that does resemble the new false definition of anarchy. All anarchy means is no rulers. It does not mean no rules. But I don't care if we go into a Mad Max type of world. I would rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery. I do not want to live under the dictate of men lesser than me. I will not. I will not. I will fight. So anyway, freedom lovers, until next time, this is William Moore. Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Ties That Bind. Love each and every one of you. Peace.